This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast. It is Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. We're going to get to Anthony and myself in just a minute. But first, I want to welcome our new patrons over at patreon.com. And that is Andrew Arbuckle, Michaela Parham. Thank you so much, guys, for joining the family here over at the WWE Podcast. And those of you, I see some of you have upgraded your memberships to get the additional free show. Phil G, thank you for becoming a member of the Monday Night Raw level. I really appreciate it. I hope that you are able to come on the show. Phil, if you're out there, buddy, that's a perk of the Monday Night Raw level. If you want to come on the show, that is absolutely something that you can do. And everything ad-free, guys. No matter what level you join on Patreon, it's all ad-free. And if you go up, you get additional shows. You can even come on the show. And even dictate the topic that you want to talk about. So I wanted to put in that little plug there and just take a moment before we get to Anthony and myself to thank the patrons and to extend the invite to the rest of the audience here that if you are listening or waiting for a listening experience that doesn't have ads, well, Patreon's the place to go. Patreon.com/WWE Podcast, as well as Apple. Apple does have an option as well. Hitting that subscribe button, it is a 7-day free trial and then just $3 a month. Everything ad-free, right in your native podcast app for Apple. So, all right. So, with that little shameless plug for my podcast, let's get to Anthony and myself as we discuss at the beginning of the show. Yes, some Rock, Cody, Roman stuff as we always do, but we dive into the Monday Night Raw match by match in detail. Really, I think about 15 minutes in or so. So don't worry if you're wanting to go, hey, this isn't really a Monday Night Raw review. It is. Just give it time. We got to get our Cody rants out of the way and our updated status of ideas of where things could land as we move forward and give us the analysis of Rock going heel, and you'll see. So just wanted to give you that bit of a disclaimer. So thank you, everybody, again, for joining me here, and enjoy Anthony and myself. I'll be back tomorrow with the mailbag. Talk soon. Welcome to the Monday Night Raw review here on this Tuesday, February 13th, 2024, as we are going to review Monday Night Raw that came to us from, I believe it was Lexington, Kentucky, and that is going to be something that WWE makes sure that when they're in a town that they don't have an NFL team for, that there's something they can hang on to. And apparently they were also at the University of Kentucky, which is a bunch of nonsense. However, beside the point, I'm here to welcome Anthony DeMarco. Obviously, last night we were unable to record together, but we're making up for it tonight, combining some Raw review and probably going off on a few tangents or two as we do with the Cody Rock Roman situation, and maybe even diving into the potential of Austin having another match, maybe at next year's WrestleMania. That seems to be the big news today. But before we get into any of those specifics, Anthony, welcome to the show. How's it going, man?
Not too bad, buddy. And thanks for accommodating me. Obviously, a bit of a scheduling conflict for me yesterday, but glad to jump on the Raw review. And you were able to get out a news current state hybrid show, which is I'm sure everyone was down with.
Yes, everybody, and they certainly missed you yesterday, and I tried to carry the show solo, and I mean, I did what I could, but certainly not the same. But let's make up for it tonight as we have a lot to discuss. Now, before we get into the specifics of Monday Night Raw, just off the top, because I know I'll forget, did you hear about the potential of Austin coming back for another match? He had an interview, I think it was with ESPN, and he said, that he could do it, and that if it's the right person and he has someone in mind, that he would be able to do it. Is this something that you'd be interested in if Austin were to lace up the boots one more time and seemingly go against maybe CM Punk or another opponent for maybe a WrestleMania 41 showdown?
I mean, as long as it's not a travesty, like a Goldberg-Undertaker type of match, I'm okay with it. I'm typically hesitant of guys specifically in the Hall of Fame coming out of retirement. When Austin came back 2 years against Kevin Owens, I thought it was acceptable. I don't think Austin was in the greatest ring shape because of the fact that he kept his shirt on, but I thought the match was passable. It was kind of tough seeing him trying to stomp a mud hole in Kevin Owens at times, but I think as long as it's with the right guy, like I think Kevin Owens was the right guy, I'd be hesitant for CM Punk to be the right person to put him over in that capacity. But I mean, look, if it's the right person and the chemistry's right and all works well, I have no issue with it. But I mean, it just is all kind of dependent on that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, apparently the WWE, when Vince was there, didn't give him enough of a heads up to get into the shape that he would be able to take off his shirt and not wear his shirt. I understand why he did. I mean, I'd probably have done the same thing. So I think given the time frame he had, which I guess was only a few months to get ready for the match, I mean, I would give him an absolute passable grade. I had no criticism of it. I mean, it's a guy 58 years old coming out of retirement to work with a guy that's 35, right? So, I mean, I have no issue with it at all. And if he wants to do it again, hopefully he has enough time to get him into shape that like he could be the true Stone Cold Steve Austin of yesteryear. And it's got to be CM Punk. I don't know how it's not CM Punk. You could also do Roman Reigns, I guess, if you're going to do a one-off. But I mean, I'm also scared too because of how they possibly, as we talked about last week, botched a mega match that has been thought about for years and how it's been botched. Although they have done a nice recovery of turning Rock heel, and we can get into that in a minute or just dive into it now. How do you feel about The Rock embracing the full heel? We haven't seen the follow-up on SmackDown yet, obviously this coming Friday, but how do you feel about WWE going, okay, well, we screwed that up, and we're going to turn Rock full heel, and he's going to pull from the Hollywood Rock from 2003. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I'm someone who, it's well documented, I'm a huge Rock guy going back, 20 plus years. But the last few times The Rock has come back as a babyface and kind of just done his greatest hits, like hedging on like a Dwayne Johnson version of himself, I wasn't really a big fan of it. Like, I was always the guy, like, if you're going to come back, play the character. Don't play yourself. And I thought a lot of times he was coming back and kind of playing himself. So for that reason, I'm kind of excited here. Like that interview he had on the McAfee show where he was doing the Cody crybaby thing, I'm just like, man, this is like old school Rock. And I believe you've mentioned it. A lot of people mentioned it. Like, Hollywood Rock is arguably the best version of The Rock. Now, look, I think if we all had to pick a version, 2000, 2001 Rock, when he was white hot, especially in the absence of Steve Austin, is probably the best. But even Brian Gewirtz, his personal writer for his company, a former writer for Monday Night Raw, the head writer, has said Hollywood Rock was the best version. And they only got 3 months out of it? Not even, because he came back for a short full-time run, beat Steve Austin, put over Goldberg, and then went, completely knee-deep into Hollywood. So I'm okay with it. Now, at the same time, does it suck that we finally have The Rock back and we're not going to get the match that we've all been clamoring for 4 to 5 years? For sure. It sucks. And, you've seen a lot of people say oh, well, this wasn't their plan, this and that. No, it probably wasn't their plan. But I mean, it is what it is. They pivoted. And if they did have to pivot, this was the best version to do it. For me personally, I think that we're going to get, and you've mentioned it, as long as The Rock is actually in it for the long game and we do eventually get Rock versus Roman Reigns, I'm okay with this, because I do think seeing another version of The Rock is something that we really are going to be blessed to see in a way.
Yeah, this Hollywood Rock version it's not going to be a duplicate of 2003. I don't want it to be an exact carbon copy, but I mean, pulling from elements of that, it's a version of The Rock that, as you said, it was such a short-lived Rock, but such an impactful one. I mean, it was one that people still talk about today, even though it was something that wasn't in the cards then, because the fans turned on Rock, infamously at WrestleMania 18, and then, the full turn came after that. But it was one that is not forgotten, and the one that I don't think we got to see fully fleshed out. Now we can. 21 years later, we get to see a heel Rock in WWE. I mean, it's really unfathomable given, just a couple months ago when we were all like, oh my God, The Rock teased it. He might be coming back. He said he's going to sit at the head of the table. Here we go. And then things, bam. WWE's creative crap the bed. And now here we are in a position that may not be the worst, because as you said, and as The Rock said, if he's truly in this for the long game, cool. Let's give the fans a chance to hate you if that's what they want to do. And coming back as an entitled board member of TKO and this guy that comes in part-time and steals the main event, he'll play on that and do an excellent job. I can't wait to see what he does with the crowd and try just annihilate them. But I think he's going to be at some point during this heel run, and I don't know how often he's going to be on TV either over the next probably year. I don't know how long he can be this entertaining as a heel and not eventually turn babyface down the line.
Yeah,
right?
It's a good point, because him as a heel, like I said, man, like, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I was kind of getting tired of The Rock coming back and just doing his greatest hits, like the Jinder Mahal thing, the stuff with Austin Theory 3 years ago or 4 years ago with Becky Lynch and Baron Corbin. Like, was it only me that was getting kind of tired of the same old act?
No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I mean, it's something though that it's not. I wasn't sitting there actively going, "Oh, this sucks. Can you change it?" I mean, we were sitting there, but it's underlying our thoughts were the fact that you were thinking, "Yeah, it's like, okay, we know exactly what he's going to do, how he's going to act. He's going to talk in the third person, and as you said, he's really playing himself as The Rock instead of just being The Rock." I think that's probably the best way I can describe it, and it felt very disingenuous sometimes. For him to slip back into that role. So this version of The Rock, it's almost a little bit more genuine in a way, because he doesn't have to play a character. He can just be this D-bag from Hollywood that comes in, and he's a true board member of TKO, and just throw his weight around and be himself in a way. I'm not saying Dwayne Johnson is truly that guy, but I mean, there probably is a big element of that is the Hollywood Rock version. So I mean, I'm excited to see where this goes. And eventually, yes, I want it to blow off at WrestleMania 41, Rock Roman, done the right way, no title.
Do you think there's any portion of this fan base that will look back and regret that we rejected, or not we're in the minority here, but that they rejected Rock versus Roman?
I mean, I'm sure there's still some Rock supporters out there, and he'll get cheered. Even when he goes full heel, he'll be so entertaining that it'll, I think, even turn some people into just laughing, because he'll make the people laugh, even though he'll make them angry. It'll be a very interesting sweet spot, because, again, he'll be so entertaining that it'll eventually turn people for him. But, yeah, there's certainly people who are angry right now that Cody Rhodes is taking the Rock's spot. To some degree, I'm part of that. But if we ultimately get the match that we want, and the fans are fully behind The Rock as we hope that they would be against Roman Reigns, then sure, let's play the long game, whatever that means. And hopefully that's just WrestleMania 40 to WrestleMania 41, maybe a few appearances at SummerSlam, maybe a pay-per-view here and there to keep things fresh and keep The Rock in the minds of fans. And then eventually Roman turns on The Rock. The whole bloodline just decimates him, and then you have a babyface Rock again. So I'm sure this will last for several months, and then we'll get eventually a turn for The Rock back to babyface. Roman doesn't have the title anymore, so that factor goes away, and we get the match that we all wanted a year earlier.
Yep. No, so, I think that's 100% kind of like a best of both worlds. Like, you could have your cake and eat it too.
No, absolutely. It really is. And let's just hope that no one's injured and, nothing catastrophic happens next year. Because by putting it off a year, and this is the last thing I'll say, if it is a year, there's still unknowns that could happen, that this match actually doesn't happen.
Inherent risk with it, right?
Yeah. Where we actually don't get Rock Roman. I mean, that's still on the table given that, life happens. So,
well, look, everyone's talking about Triple H Rock, but we all know that's not going to happen because of Triple H's defibrillator. But that was a match that they've been planting seeds for going back to 2014.
Yeah.
And The Rock kept kicking it down the road, kicking it down the road. And now, because of extenuating circumstances, we can't have that match. So that's a perfect example of it.
Which sucks. I mean,
it really does.
It sucks given the history of these two, and they've never had a match at WrestleMania, which is criminal, and how good of chemistry they have. And I think they're both still capable if Triple H had enough time to get into ring shape and put on a serviceable match. And the promos would be epic. The video packages would be next level. I mean, it would be awesome, but it sucks that we're not able to get that because of Triple H's health. Because that seems, if you didn't know that, you'd be like, oh, they're building Triple H versus The Rock. This is going to be effing great.
I actually had one thing, one random thought, and I hate fantasy booking, and it would take a lot of booking and build to this. And I don't know if he's still able to wrestle, but could you see Nick Aldis versus The Rock on behalf of Triple H?
Yeah, I mean, one-on-one, sure. Yeah, I could see that happening, but we don't know what Nick Aldis looks like in the ring right now. And also he's billed as a general manager, not as a wrestler, and he's doing such a good job in his role. It's picture perfect in his role. He was built for that role. He'll eventually probably come out and wrestle, but for now, I wouldn't touch him right now. But sure, I mean, at the same time, your concept of having Triple H choose someone to wrestle on his behalf is plausible, and that's how you maybe get The Rock to wrestle at WrestleMania, because The Rock is wrestling at WrestleMania. I just don't know how yet.
Well, now I've seen reports that they might do that tag match on night 1 of WrestleMania of Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth, and then on night 2 you have the singles match. Like, so is that what we're going to see? Just The Rock in a tag team capacity? And to be honest, I know that they're trying to build this story up, and I like the fact that they're involving Seth Rollins too. But to me, it's like you're kind of dumping all over other people, and specifically the women, just to give this story all the spotlight. Right. I think that would be a bit overkill, in my opinion.
Well, that's the risk that you're going to pose, and rightfully so. Some of the backlash is warranted. If you take both night main events and use this Rock Roman storyline to fill that, there's going to be some inherent backlash, and again, rightfully so. There are other stories going on, and one thing also I was thinking about while I was watching Raw, while Seth Rollins was talking to Cody Rhodes, and we'll get into that promo shortly. It's almost like no one's even talking about the World Heavyweight Championship. Even Seth, who's the world champion on Raw, that we're supposed to believe is a superior champion, is still talking about Cody, Roman, Rock. Cody, Roman, Rock. And it's like, dude, can you focus on your own championship? I understand he has to comment on it a little bit because we'll eventually get to the tag match, but it almost feels like the World Heavyweight Championship has been kind of pushed aside for everything.
Well, like, I understand that they're trying to involve Seth in this, and I appreciate that they're trying to put Seth in the same stratosphere as all the other guys, because I do think he deserves that credit. But to your point, he's just kind of there as like Cody's a lackey, and he's the World Heavyweight Champion. Like, he really has nothing to do with this other than the fact that he's supporting Cody, and he's kind of trying to like whine his way into making that championship feel as legit as the WWE Championship. Mm-hmm. But it's like in turn, what's he gonna do? Like, now you have an Elimination Chamber building to find his number one contender, which I imagine is gonna be Drew McIntyre. And then what? He's gonna play both sides? Like, it's weird how they're going about this, but that's the risk you have when you have a guy on a Raw brand, Cody, chasing someone on a SmackDown brand. And I don't mind if you want to jump brands to chase another championship, kind of like what we saw Benoit do 20 years ago. But he went to Raw. He didn't stay on SmackDown and chase the World Heavyweight Championship. He just took the loophole and switched to Raw, which is fine by me. But what I don't like is that now the WWE Championship has kind of like overtaken the World Heavyweight Championship because it's so entrenched in the story on both shows. So you've kind of had Seth now be positioned as like second fiddle with that world. It's a very weird dynamic they've gone about. And look, I appreciate them wanting to present Seth as like a frontline guy because he is that. But in doing so, they've also kind of done some damage to him and by extension, the World Heavyweight title.
They have, and I just hope that maybe next week he gets back on track talking about the world title. Honestly, there's nothing he can say or do at this point to make us truly believe that title has more value than the one on Roman Reigns' waist. I mean, it's just you can't, and he'll try, and I appreciate that, and he should try. But there's really nothing WWE can do to make that World Heavyweight Championship feel more important, especially when they shot themselves in the foot and introduced it and just pretended that it just came out of thin air and that nothing existed before it. I mean, if they were able to pull on the lineage of that World Heavyweight Championship, which went back decades, and just decided, Seth so just weird. Pulled this out of the ground. I'm like, what is why? Why would you do that? Why would you not want a championship to feel as important as it can? And instead they're like, yeah, Seth just kind of, just pulled this out of nowhere. It's like, that was a mistake from the beginning, and now they're feeling the effects of that decision, I think, too. So.
Yeah, well, I never understood that, especially given the fact that it looks so similar to the old one. Like, it makes no sense why they've just created like a brand new lineage, but hey.
Well, that's just it, too. They're like, oh, it's brand new. Boy, doesn't it look a lot like the one from 15 years ago? Yeah, I mean, it's weird. But let's get into Monday Night Raw. We'll get into the promo, and boy, I have some things to say about a Becky Lynch promo too. That we'll get there, and I can't wait. But let's start with the first match. This was Imperium. This is Gunther, Ludwig, and Giovanni Vinci that took on Jey Uso and the New Day in a 6-man tag team match. This went 20 minutes and felt long, and it was. But hey, it's wrestling on a wrestling show, so I'm not going to complain. But it ended with Jey Uso, Kofi, and Xavier beating Imperium in, again, about 20 minutes. This happened with a 1D and a top rope splash on Vinci, who took the fall. What did you think?
I mean, I think that they're building to Jay and Gunther nicely. I think the New Day, for as much as I'm not huge fans of them, have kind of playing their parts well here, and it's nice that they're kind of playing off of the respect-filled rivalry that the Usos and the New Day had on SmackDown years ago. So I think everyone's kind of playing their part nicely. Vinci taking the pinfall, as he always seems to do for Imperium. But as we've spoken about, it's Gunther seems to be on a collision course with Jay, and Jay seems like a legit guy to dethrone him for that Intercontinental Championship. So to be honest, it was just a match for me that did what it had to do, furthered the story to Jay versus Gunther. And for the New Day, although they're not my favorites, I thought that they're playing their roles well here.
Well, that's it. This actually may be the most likable version of the New Day, and I think the reason is they're not talking. I don't hear them on a microphone. I mean, really, that's the best version of the New Day is when they just get in and they wrestle. I don't need to hear their sophomoric humor. I don't need inside jokes. I don't need trombones. I don't need pancakes. I don't need any food products. I just need them to go in there, and I need them to just do what they do, and that's wrestle. And they both can wrestle very well. And this does scream for Big E to come back. Whether or not he is, I don't know, but it would be kind of cool. Even though I hate the New Day as a concept, they have done a nice job over the last several weeks of not speaking and just going out there and wrestling. And that's actually a much more likable New Day in my mind. But yeah, they're definitely building to Jay and Gunther, and he actually may be a very legitimate contender, probably the biggest threat to Gunther's championship that he's had his entire run. He's passed the 600 days. Jay is he is a main event. He is what his name says he is. He nearly won the world title when I was at Raw a number of months ago. The crowd is very much behind him. The Yeet thing is on fire still. So I think he's very believable, and I would have really no issue with Gunther dropping it to Jey Uso when that happens.
No, for sure. And I think that Gunther, his run as IC champ is coming to an end here. Like, you just feel like it's just, and it's not because it's bad. It's just like he's ready for bigger and better things. He's a world heavyweight title guy. But for me, you also have to keep that significance that he's built behind the IC championship going. And I think given how much support, like genuine and organic fan support that Jey Uso has, I really think that he's a legit candidate to do it, and it would be nice to see. I think he's earned it, and then you could go from there. But it seems like it's kind of like a perfect storm here for Jey Uso to take that title.
That's probably a good way to put it, is that you can see the end now for Gunther, and it is a tear shedding moment. I mean, given that how awesome this run was, that you can see it coming, but that's okay, because that's going to elevate Gunther to the next level. He belongs in that next level, and he's added so much value to that Intercontinental Championship. You can't overstate it enough. So there's just this is like you said, a perfect storm, and I think all the pieces are lining up nicely for a transfer of the championship. So, all right, let's get to the next match. An Elimination Chamber qualifier, Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed. This was 8 minutes and 40 seconds with Bobby Lashley beating Bronson Reed after a spear. Excuse me, Big Bronson Reed. Got to make sure we add some kind of gimmick, and that's about as elementary as it gets, calling him just Big. But Bobby
I have
Lashley,
one thing to say about that.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
What do you think of his Godzilla-like promo video Titantron? What's your opinion on that?
I don't know. They're trying to throw crap at the wall and see if anything sticks, is what I think.
Well, I mean, I actually like Bronson Reed. I just thought, like, it was actually a pretty cool graphic. I was just kind of taken aback that they really went like full Godzilla with them.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not a complaint. I mean, they're just trying things. They're adding little things here and there. He's changing his look slightly. The Tron stuff. I really, it's not a complaint. They're trying to find some kind of identity for Bronson Reed, and I think there is something there. And especially given the fact that they're heading to Australia, I don't even think he's on the card, which is a big miss. If Bronson Reed's not on the card somehow, some way, or interferes, I mean, it's a big miss for Bronson Reed to have that moment in his home country. But I mean, as far as Bobby Lashley winning here, I don't think that is a shocker of the century. Lashley winning makes sense. He's the bigger star. Him being in the Elimination Chamber, it makes sense, even though I don't think anyone believes he's going to win the Chamber match. So,
yeah, I don't know. Like, I do think they've been spinning their tires with Lashley ever since he moved to SmackDown with the Street Profits, now BFAB. Like, you have him in this program with the Final Testament, but that's kind of been put on hold. Like, I guess this is a way to position him as somewhat significant, but like, I like Bobby Lashley, I really do, but he's just kind of been in a weird, bland spot, even going from babyface to heel, back to babyface. So like, it's something for him to do, but I'm hoping they involve him and the Street Profits in something with a bit more substance sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like these two pairings of the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley, everyone was excited for. They originally were heel, then they're kind of a babyface out of convenience because they need them for the story to fight against the the Final Testament. The Final Testament, yeah, with Karrion Kross. So, I mean, again, there's more there. They just haven't explored it. They haven't given them a mic, really. It's been kind of just like you said, spinning wheels. It's not on a descent. It's not on an ascent. It's just plateau.
There.
Just exists. And they need to figure out what to do with this group. Either go with it or don't. But right now, they're kind of in a dead spot. So, all right. Well, let's continue. Cody Rhodes, or rather, I'm sorry. We had a quick promo with Sami Zayn speaking with, I don't remember her name. It might have, Jackie Redmond. She was in the seats in the empty arena, and Zayn said part of it feels embarrassed by losing to Drew, and that's when Shinsuke Nakamura interrupted and set up their match for later on, and we'll get to that. But I don't know if you have any quick thoughts about Shinsuke Nakamura interfering in a empty arena, which is a nice touch to kind of change up just these little things in production to me. But I think it was effective. What did you think about that and the interview with Jackie Redmond that he had, which was kind of on a depressing note, but then Shinsuke interfering?
I mean, I like what Shinsuke's doing. Yes, he seems to lose all the big programs that he has, but the whole subtitle thing is really working for him, and it's a way to keep him relevant. So I really like that. Sami Zayn, they're really leaning into the underdog thing. Like, I mean, it did what it had to do. Like, they're really beating Sami Zayn down here, presumably to build him back up. And look, following the stuff with Roman Reigns and then him winning the tag team titles, them losing the tag team titles last in the late summer, like, he's kind of in a weird spot right now. You're trying to kind of reinvent Sami Zayn and get him away from that story. So I think that this is something like kind of something along the lines of like Darkest Before the Dawn for Sami Zayn, where you have to really beat him down, get that sympathy back up, and then rebuild him. I'm not worried about Sami Zayn. It's just that given all the star power right now, and given how hot he was a year and a half ago, that it was expected that there would be some kind of regression in some way. But I'm not worried about him because they're still positioning him in prominent spots.
That's the thing, too. Like you just said, if you're worried about his character, the only time I'm worried truly about a character is when they just either stop talking or just disappear for weeks on end or go into random programs and they don't have anything solid on the show. That's when that kind of raises your eyebrow and you're like, wait, this isn't good. But the fact that he's getting interviews, he's getting matches, he's in main events, I'm not worried about his Sami Zayn, even though he's on a losing streak. That's fine because he's still being featured prominently. But boy, it's still a fall from grace from Elimination Chamber last year when we believed he could have been, and I believe should have been still a year later, the undisputed champion. But that's obviously a rant that we could go on as we have over the last year. But then we get, speaking of rants, Mr. Suit himself comes out. And he didn't have his dog, so that was a plus. But God, I mean, the bar is so low with him. But they see him getting off of his bus, and he's smiling at no one because he just has to smile all the time. And a We Want Cody chant breaks out, and he comes out, thanks the fans as he always does. And he said he didn't want to become emotional, or he'll become a crybaby, trying to turn it on The Rock here. The fans booed, and they got Rocky Sucks chants. What did you think about this? Just the beginning part of the promo.
I mean, it's classic Cody Rhodes. I don't like it, but I've just accepted that I'm in the minority. Everyone seems to love him. It's not my cup of tea. It's very pandering, like very clean cut. Nothing wrong with the guy. Like, he's like the worst elements of John Cena from 15 years ago, amplified by 1,000. Yeah. And there's just nothing else to say. Like, I admit that I'm in the minority and that everyone likes this guy. But for me, I really just can't get behind him in the current version of himself.
And the thing is, too, and I know people complain about us complaining about Cody all the time, but we can also objectively say, hey, he is actually the right guy to take the belt off of Roman right now. That's the thing. I mean, I can say.
For sure. It's him. He has all the tools. It's not for me. Hey, look, I like guys that most people don't like, or vice versa. Like, I like Karrion Kross, and most people don't like him. Like, it's just, I admit that I'm in the minority. I've never liked Cody Rhodes. I've had problems with it, but I can't sit here and say that he's the wrong guy to do it. Listen to the reaction. Look at him on the mic. Look at the movement on Twitter. The proof is in the pudding. He's the right guy at the right time. The biggest baby face that they've had since peak John Cena. It's just not my cup of tea.
No, that's the thing. We can see both sides of it, and we can not like something, but also absolutely understand why he is the right guy, and he is. It hurts my soul to say, but he is, and there's just no two ways about it. And the fans have spoken. But Cody went on to talk about The Rock on the Pat McAfee show, talking about chicken McNuggets and sticking them up your ass and all the stuff that The Rock does, which actually is kind of funny. Talking about The Rock saying how, every 10 tweets, he sticks 2 chicken McNuggets up his ass, and his wife asks him to go have intimate relations, and he's like, "Not now, honey. I'm
Cody's got to finish the story."
Cody's got to finish. I mean, so that's God. I love that Rock. Like, that's The Rock when he drops into the character and stops trying to be Dwayne. Yeah, that's what I love. And him trolling on the fans and making fun of the fans. That is the part I can't wait for. So we got a great version of The Rock on the Pat McAfee show, and Rollins comes out though, and he again is as you said, he's just being the as well as Rollins said, the shield for Cody Rhodes, and he'll be behind him, and he's rooting for him, and that he wants him to finish his story for all the fans, for him, for everyone. And so Rollins said that if Cody doesn't beat Roman and take his title, the landscape on the other side of WrestleMania is very dark, painting a very bleak picture if he doesn't win. So what did you think about Rollins and all his support for Cody Rhodes?
I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make Seth Rollins not feel forgotten. So I appreciate it, because he is the World Heavyweight Champion. He is a guy that is a massive babyface in the company, just behind Cody Rhodes, and they're trying to make him feel relevant. Like, even in that promo commercial where you have The Rock and Roman standing off in that dark lighted room against Seth and Cody, they're really trying to present Seth as on the same footing, and I could appreciate that. It just sucks that Seth has to be his backup. He's the World Heavyweight Champion and he's the backup to Cody Rhodes. That's what I don't like. Because you're devaluing that championship and you're making the face of Monday Night Raw in a lot of ways feel second fiddle. So I feel mixed on this because of that. I like that they're keeping Seth relevant, but it sucks that it has to be in this capacity.
It does. The other thing, and it's just eating away at me, that I feel like they should fill this gap in the story, is that Cody hasn't yet told us why he didn't face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania after consulting with The Rock. I mean, he said, I took counsel. I mean, now again, this will be an infamous segment of SmackDown for eternity, this creative that we all know now. But Cody saying, I took counsel, and that he, you know this person very well, and boom, out comes The Rock, and then obviously Twitter blows up. So why Cody didn't tell us why he decided. I mean, I know on Raw he said, well, it's because of you guys. You guys made this happen. It's like, no, bro, you won the Rumble. We didn't win the Rumble. Why are we responsible for? I don't want you to tell us, well, in reality, it's obviously the fans changing the mind of management and creative. We know that. But tell us a storyline reason why. It's not us. We were supporting you all along. And I say us very, obviously.
Loosely.
Yeah, loosely. The fans were all with him all the whole time. So I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, it's because of you. That doesn't make sense. So that's a big gap for me, and it's a bit annoying. No,
and it just kind of shows that they did have to pivot. And hopefully that is explained more. It's been very clunky. I think that by the end it will work out well because of all the talent involved. And I think that they've garnered enough interest here to make us all care about it. but this is them just kind of doing damage control for the huge bleep up that they pulled 2 weeks ago on SmackDown. That's the way that I view it, and I'm hoping that this week on SmackDown we got a lot of answers to all these questions.
Maybe. I don't have the faith. I mean, again, under the Vince McMahon regime, I know they wouldn't try to even fill it, but I think even moving forward, the fans are just going to be like, who cares about that? We got what we wanted. I don't care about this little blip. For me, I like cohesive storytelling. I'm a big fan of it. Even if I don't agree with what they're doing, I want to know why things are happening. I mean, shoot me for wanting to see just a storyline that makes sense with no large gaps. I think
for the most part, Triple H has been good at that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I know that as a fan, you can't have every possibility and gap filled. You can't. You can't explain every little thing and why it happens. But when there's just large missing parts of a story, it's annoying. Like why Brock Lesnar attacked Cody Rhodes. We still don't know. We'll probably never know now with Brock maybe gone forever. But things like that, it's like, dude, like just tell us, give us anything. And I don't think they're going to fill it in. I think they're just saying, well, it's because of you guys. Well, that's the real answer, but give us a storyline one. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, let's move on here. We've got Liv Morgan and Zoey Stark in an Elimination Chamber qualifier. 9 minutes, and Liv Morgan beats Zoey Stark after she hits Oblivion. Liv Morgan was promoted as on her revenge tour. That's her thing she's doing now. And Zoey Stark, who gets no mic time and has really fallen off the horse, so to speak, ever since she left Trish Stratus' side. I wasn't super invested in this. Liv Morgan winning makes sense given she's kind of the shiny new toy that just returned. Makes sense. But what did you think about this?
I mean, there's nothing really to break down. You're trying to position Liv Morgan in a somewhat significant way upon her return. I get it. Zoey Stark, who I actually think there's some potential there. As you mentioned, it's kind of faded into the background, mainly tagging with Shayna Baszler. There's nothing much to break down. Liv's not going to win the chamber, but you want to put her in a prominent match at a prominent pay-per-view or PLE. So it did what it had to do, but there's not a ton to break down here beyond the surface.
Yeah. I mean, and to be honest, neither one, even no matter who won, if they're both in the chamber, neither one of them are winning the chamber. There's just zero chance.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, let's move on here into an R-Truth versus JD McDonough match. And this match ended in 6 minutes and 55 seconds after JD beat R-Truth. What did you think about this? Obviously, a lot of weird stuff going on backstage beforehand with R-Truth saying that was an initiation last week, but R-Truth losing here to JD McDonough. What did you think?
Well, I mean, I think they're slowly building to R-Truth and Miz versus the Judgment Day for the tag titles at WrestleMania. It feels a little beneath Judgment Day right now. Like, given what they did in 2023, it feels like it's a bit like, okay, like, we love R-Truth, all this, but, like, how much longer could you really string this out for? But at the same time, given everything going on with Cody and Seth and all this, like, and now Drew as a top heel, I understand that they're kind of in a holding pattern. To be honest, I wish they would take the tag titles off of Finn and Damian. I feel like Finn is pretty much not even his own character anymore. Like, it's mainly about Damian, who I really like. I really like what they're doing with Damian Priest. But hopefully by WrestleMania, the tag titles do go on to R-Truth and Miz, which kind of sucks. Like, I think on both shows right now, you have strong enough tag team divisions that you could split those titles again. I think Triple H has done a nice job of establishing divisions on both sides. So having both those titles on, like, not even a traditional tag team, more like a faction, I think is not great right now, but I understand what they're doing it. But I'm getting to the point where, like, I'm over this, and I'm just hoping that Judgment Day moves on to bigger and better things.
And I think they will. I mean, it does seem that they're leading to an R-Truth Miz victory at WrestleMania. It's a feel-good story. It seems like that's how they'll go. It's possible that R-Truth and Miz don't win. I mean, I won't hate it if the Judgment Day retain at WrestleMania in this, again, unofficial match. But with the love that the crowd has for R-Truth and the moments he's given us over the last couple of months, pretending he's in the Judgment Day and genuinely how funny he is, and that's a rare talent for a wrestler to have, is actual comedy and comedic timing and skills, which is very difficult. I give Truth all the credit in the world. And again, I think they're going for the feel-good moment. But yeah, certainly Finn Balor has lost his identity. Damian Priest has really come to the forefront, and I'm with you too. I really am with Damian Priest becoming eventually. I mean, he's got the briefcase. He's only got like 140, 150 days left to cash in. That's not a ton of time. It's like 4 or 5 months, right? 4 months. Yep. So not a ton left. So that means that he could cash in at Mania. He may not. But when he does cash in, I love him as world champion. I have no issue with Damian Priest cashing in successfully as world champion. But I also could see R-Truth spoiling the cash in, screwing over Damian Priest after Damian Priest dropped him this week. Finally, took it to R-Truth, and I think that relationship's over. So I could see R-Truth spoiling it and totally screwing over Damian Priest when he's trying to cash in. So
yeah, it's a fun story. I just think it's approaching its lifespan now.
All right. Well, Becky Lynch comes out, and my God. Now, again, I will just say this before I preface what I'm about to say with Becky Lynch by saying that she is a star. She is a big women's star. She is a household name when it comes to the women's division anyway. She is a accomplished female wrestler. She is one of the trailblazers of the original women's revolution or evolution, whatever word you want to use. And I have respect for Becky Lynch. I do. She is talented in the ring. Her character at one point was intriguing. Her rivalry with Ronda Rousey was one of her best. But ever since that point, she's gone heel and then back to babyface and trying to reclaim the magic of 4 or 5 years ago. And it's not happening for me. And Becky Lynch comes out and she is talking about going to prom with somebody, which I'm guessing there was a sign that said, "Come to prom with me. Becky Lynch is my date for a prom," or something. I don't know. So she's talking about her love for the business. She said she was 15 years old when she first stepped in the ring and obsessed about it ever since. And she's thankful for it because that's how she met her husband. That's how she met her daughter. But she's missed birthdays and weddings and her father's funeral and all these things. And I'll just pause there by saying, before we get to the worst part of it, so has everyone else that works for the company. Okay. Like all of the talent have these struggles. It's what you sign up for. And it also feels like it kind of borrowed very heavily from Drew McIntyre's promo like a few weeks ago. So it felt very like we've heard this already. So before I get into anything else, what did you think about this part of the promo?
I'm over Becky Lynch. I didn't understand what she was wearing. She looked like she was part of the Backstreet Boys. Like, I mean, and I'm not going to rip her for that. Like, it's her attire. It is what it is. And again, she's someone that most people like. I don't hate her, but I found that she's been stale going back to before she took time off for her kid. Like, I found her boring in 2019 when she was the double champ and this and that. She's never been my cup of tea. I get how they're trying to position her. I understand. It's just like, she's just very meh for me. Like she can come and go. She does all this. I just don't care one way or another more for her or not. Like, it's just, she's just, I don't know. Like, I don't resent her. It's just like, I'm more interested right now in Rhea and Nia, if that makes more sense.
I never thought I'd say it, but yes, Nia Jax right now is a more interesting character than Becky Lynch. I never thought I'd say it. It's almost, I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. And so as the promo goes on, she acknowledges that fans love Rhea Ripley, or some do, and that, that some don't, but some love her and some don't. Basically acknowledging that, the fans are probably going to turn on her at WrestleMania. I really believe that. I don't think that when you get to WrestleMania, if it's Becky and Rhea Ripley, that Becky Lynch is coming out of there alive, meaning the fans are going to just boo the hell out of her. People love Rhea Ripley. They don't want her to lose the belt. And I think that not nobody, but it'll be a very heavily favored Rhea Ripley environment. And that's going to be interesting to see how Becky Lynch decides to deal with that. But this continues, and I'll get to the worst part of this right now. So Becky Lynch grabs a drink, which conveniently, I don't know, the ring announcer, I don't know who had it, the timekeeper, somebody just had like a tall mixed drink of some sort, just conveniently there. And she's trying to toast the fans and say bottoms up and all these things, try to make her relatable or something. And she also talked about her kid. She talked about having a tough conversation with her child. who's 3 years old, by the way. Now, anyone that has talked to a 3-year-old, or even better, has had a 3-year-old or two in their house, I'm one of them, you don't have difficult conversations with a 3-year-old. You just have interactions with a 3-year-old. So she's talking about, well, I had to explain to her why mommy has a bloody face, and that when she watches mommy, I'm like, the attention span of a 3-year-old is about 3.5 seconds. So, like, first of all, if you're trying to force your child to watch your matches, I have questions on that. And also, you are telling me that you don't have tough conversations with a 3-year-old. Their concept of the outside world is extremely limited. They have no concept beyond their own internal view of things, of like, I have to poop, I'm hungry, I'm going to scream, I'm going to climb on crap. That's it. And I'm speaking from experience. That is all that they have. Now, you may say, well, my 3-year-old sounds smarter than yours. Try to have a conversation. Pick a 3-year-old out of a crowd, anywhere, that you think is super smart, and try to have a conversation with them about why mommy has a bloody nose and why she's missed so many things. Stop. I mean, I got so annoyed by this. It felt just totally disingenuous. You did not have that conversation with your kid. Stop it.
It was cringy because it's probably inaccurate. And it's like, how many guys and girls working for WWE have kids? How many guys and girls have had, missed birthdays or whatever she said? I don't know what the angle is. They've leaned in a lot with her having a kid, like more so than any other wrestler, man or female. So it's clearly part of their creative in trying to make Becky Lynch relatable. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because she had to give up the Raw Women's Championship 4 years ago when she relinquished it. Maybe they've just kind of continued that because it was so public. But yeah, I agree with you. It's not for me, and I don't really understand why they've leaned so heavily into it when it comes to her.
I don't know. But, thinking about back to the 2019 thing when she gave it up, and I remember that it was obviously during the pandemic era, and we had her give the briefcase to Asuka and she became champion. That actually was the best possible thing for Becky Lynch's character, because after she beat Shayna Baszler, who everyone was like, hey, let's do this. Shayna Baszler should be crowned here. Vince decided, nope, we're going to keep it on Becky. And I think if that was to continue and they got back in front of fans would have been pissed, because Shayna Baszler had a hell of a run. She was just breaking people's arms left and right. If you remember the Elimination Chamber, she just tore through everyone in the chamber. That's who, by the way, I think Shayna Baszler should still be, but they just have fallen off the wagon so many times with Shayna. I don't have any faith in them. But yeah, I mean, their fans have turned on her a couple of times because of there's little evolution with Becky's character outside of what color is she going to wear to the ring and what wacky outfit is she going to wear. There needs to be more than that. She's tried the heel thing, so I'm not proposing she turns heel necessarily, but I don't know what she needs to do to reinvigorate her audience. And I guess WWE is trying anything they can of like, oh, let's make her relatable to get the fans to re-energize behind her. I mean, they're grasping at straws right now.
Yeah, and as we move like farther into the segment, my favorite part is when Nia Jax came out and then Rhea Ripley came out to build that. Like that whole brawl there, I didn't even really care about Becky Lynch. For me, it was all about Nia and Rhea.
Yes, that is a match. I am like a closet fan for this program of Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. We know there is 0% chance that Nia wins, but it's still going to be fun to watch her come very close to doing it. And Nia Jax, to her credit, has done an awesome job over the last couple of months. They've established her as a legitimate threat. Rhea Ripley has taken a good beating from her. So like Rhea Ripley has sold very well for Nia, which helps Nia's character. Nia Jax has been really almost reinvented on the microphone. She feels very comfortable. She's got a naturally annoying voice, like a Seth Rollins, that you don't even want to hear her talk. I mean, her voice is very nasally. You don't want to hear her talk, but that's good for her heel character. So I think Nia Jax is much improved, and like you said, I'm looking forward to this program or this match come Elimination Chamber in a week and a half. So, any final thoughts on this before we continue?
Nope, no. I just that I'm looking forward to Rhea and Nia, which is weird to say, but I am.
I know, weird. All right, LA Knight and Ivar in Elimination Chamber qualifier, 8 minutes. LA Knight beats Ivar with a BFT. What did you think?
Not a lot to say. I mean, we knew LA Knight was going to win. Cool to see Ivar placed in this kind of spot. They're clearly high on him as a singles competitor. I think he's really shown what he can do with his tag team partner Eric out for an extended period of time. but the right guy won. Again, no real substance to it because it's not like these guys are going to have a program, but it made sense. And LA Knight going to the Chamber is the right decision.
Yeah, there's no doubt that you could not put Ivar over LA Knight here, but yeah, it's a credit to Ivar with how far he's come as a singles competitor. I don't even want him to go back into a tag team, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm all for him staying singles whenever Eric comes back, but LA Knight right now, I think he's cooled off, no doubt about it. He's still hot. The LA Knight, chants are still there. I think his reaction's about 75% of what it used to be at its peak. But I think the worst part about it is, and what's hurt him the most, is not even the fact that he's not in main events. That hurts a little, but it's the fact that they took the microphone away from him.
Yeah.
He's on commentary. Sure, that helps for the at-home audience, but him cutting promos, even if it's like a minute promo on the way to the ring or something, that's what really helped him get over. And at this point, I haven't heard him cut a promo in a long time that's anything worth noting anyway. So I think them really mitigating his mic time has hurt.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, look, there's no doubt that the wind has come out of his sails, big time. But unfortunately, with all the star power and Cody and Randy returning and Seth Rollins and all this, obviously this was expected rather. But yeah, I would have hoped that they would have kept the mic on him. I think a shift to Monday Night Raw would do him a load of good. But I mean, at least they're keeping him on TV and at the bare minimum, keeping him involved on commentary.
Agreed. All right, let's get to the main event in our closing match here. Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura, who Shinsuke Nakamura continues to main event, even though he continues to lose, although he didn't lose here. Sami Zayn ends up losing in 17 minutes after a Kinshasa, but this is because of Drew McIntyre, who came out and distracted him after they had a backstage interaction before the match. And the match, by the way, was, what do you expect from these two? Very good near falls, Blue Thunderbomb near falls, just an overall solid executed match. What did you think about Drew McIntyre interfering, costing Sami Zayn the victory, and Shinsuke Nakamura picking up a victory in the main event?
I was surprised that Shinsuke won. I thought it was good, though. I thought that, if you wanted to keep putting Shinsuke presented as a threat to these guys, he needed a win. And Sammy's the guy that probably needs a win too, but with the story they're telling, it kind of makes sense. And I love Drew McIntyre, man. Like, I know what they're doing with Seth and Cody and Brock and Roman and all this, but he's a guy that deserves to be in the championship race. And I would imagine he's going to win the Elimination Chamber. He needs a World Heavyweight Championship run. He's so interesting. There's so much nuance to his character. He's funny. He's coming to his own. He's great in the ring. Drew McIntyre, for me, probably is my favorite guy right now to watch. And even as a heel, it's almost become endearing just because of how funny he is. Kind of like what we're expecting from The Rock as well. So, it's great to see Drew kind of reinvent himself after really getting stale over the last year or so.
He has whatever this is, and I still can't put my finger on it. It's a heel, but it's such a different feeling heel that he can't see his own faults. He's the hero in his own story. Everything he does, he says he's the good guy in it, and it just makes him more hated and more hated because he can't see his own faults. And it's brilliant. Obviously, the line of his entire career was "I prayed for this." He pulled on that a little bit. He's putting stuff on Twitter about it. He's selling out shirts. That might be one of the top sellers right now. Is that shirt? It's one of the funniest shirts in a while. Drew McIntyre is on fire right now. I hope he ends up winning and facing Seth Rollins. I know we just kind of saw this program, but that wasn't the same Drew this is. So it's kind of a new guy in a way. Now, one thing to note about this match before we close it out is Cody Rhodes, of course, comes out and fights off Nakamura and hits the Cody cutter on McIntyre as they were beating down on Sammy. And we get a Cody Rhodes promo for him and McIntyre having a match next week. And then obviously more hype about Roman and The Rock on SmackDown and all that. But what did you think about Cody Rhodes at the end? It's kind of expected. Given the program that's going on right now.
Yeah, it was expected. Sammy did for him last week after Raw went off the air. They're building for Cody versus Drew next week. With Seth out, those are probably the two biggest names on Monday Night Raw. It's going to be a fun match to see. They've obviously had some problems over the last few weeks. So, look, I'm looking forward to it. Raw kind of seems to be in a holding pattern right now, the direction, because the top two guys on the show are involved with the top two guys on SmackDown. being Seth and Cody, Seth and Cody. And by extension, the World Heavyweight title has kind of taken a backseat too. Although I imagine post-Elimination Chamber, when we get a number one contender for WrestleMania, we will have more of a prominent, I guess, World Heavyweight Championship picture each and every week on Raw. So right now, I think they're doing what they have to do. It was a good main event. They're keeping Drew and Shinsuke and Sammy and Cody relevant. So it was a show that for me didn't blow me out of the water, but it just did a lot of what you had to do.
That's a good way to put it too. Like it didn't move things massively, but it moved things, and it moved them in the way that you'd hope that at least there's progress in stories that you care about. We still don't know, again, The Rock and Roman, like where that all lands. And, I would like to eventually know in my lifetime what The Rock is doing at WrestleMania. That would make me happy. I'm really just tired of just generally exhausted thinking about what The Rock's doing, because it was supposed to be Roman. Now it's not. Like, it's crazy. But that'll be fun to think about when we move forward and finally get a match for Rock at WrestleMania. But this is a fun product right now. Generally, this is a very fun product as we roll into WrestleMania, even given all the injuries, Charlotte going down, Punk going down, Seth Rollins nearly going down. All those things that are massive losses for the WWE. They found a way to make it work. And as I talked about last night in my very unclever football analogy, they fumbled and then recovered the fumble. Yep. And I think they're still headed in towards the end zone. It's just the other end zone. So yeah,
no, exactly. They had to pivot and they did it. And look, I think that's still going to be good in the end. It sucked how they went about it, but hey, they corrected course and no harm, no foul, right?
Exactly. And one thing I will say, and this isn't to try to get into another conversation, just more of I guess a question that doesn't really warrant a deep answer right now. Is what do you think? How do you think Vince McMahon would have dealt with all of this if he were in charge right now and this was still the same old? I do wonder how Vince would have held and dealt with all of this fan backlash if he would have just said, "Well, F the fans, we're going with what we want," or if he would have Daniel Bryan'd it when the fans forced him that, during that time. I do wonder though. Like in my mind, I'm wondering. I wonder. It's a rhetorical question. I'm not asking you to answer, but just generally, I'm like, I wonder what Vince would have done.
Well, he probably would have broken, because look, he did it with Daniel Bryan. He did it with Kofi Kingston too. That was like a Daniel Bryan light type of thing. I just think that the storytelling would have been much worse. I think the way that they're going about it right now is very good, to be honest. Like the Rock heel and all this. Like I think that the pivot was rough because of what happened on SmackDown 2 weeks ago. But now that I'm kind of starting to see the path, like I think it's clever. But I just don't know if it would have been as clever with Vince. That's where I think.
Yeah, probably. Like you said, there is evidence that Vince would have bent and just knelt at the fans and said, "Okay, you guys win, we'll do it," because he's done it a couple times before. But like you're right, I think the storytelling and how they got there would have been even clunkier, much worse, and much more infuriating how they got there. And just because Vince was running out of steam, when you have the same outcomes coming from the same mind for 40 years. It does get redundant, and you kind of know what to expect. So, all right. Well, I guess before we go, is there any final comments on anything that you wanted to talk about or wrap up?
I guess the only thing I would say is I think everyone needs to stop fighting on whether or not this was a work or not. Like, who cares? Like, we don't care. This is what's happening. You've had Meltzer say one thing, Sean Ross Sapp say the other. It's hard to have leaks and stuff for a simulated sport, because a lot of it is about trying to tell a story. So are you leaking false things? It's not a real sport like, hockey or football or whatever. So like journalists like Adam Schefter, they're not always pushing a narrative, right? Sometimes with these guys, they are in wrestling. So, look, who cares? We just got to move on from the argument on if it was a work or not. That's the only thing. Like it happened. Probably wasn't a work, but if it was, who cares? We're getting what we're getting and everyone should be happy.
Yeah, that's kind of a good point, right? Like it whether it is a work or it's not, it is irrelevant because the outcome is the same. We're still going to get what we're going to get. The fact that it's a work or it's not doesn't change anything other than just you want WWE to admit that they screwed up and that they had to change course. Versus,
and they did.
Yeah, which is fine. Honestly, what does it matter if it is one or the other? Because if it's by design, then wow, they're getting us to talk about how this feels real and the fans created their own movement when WWE actually orchestrated it behind the scenes. Or they didn't, and the fans backlash, and WWE was able to pivot on the fly in a very effective way. So either way, it makes WWE look good.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, who cares? They tried it. It didn't work. I think they could have probably done it a lot better, but like at this point, who cares? That's just kind of like where I'm at. Like, who cares at this point? They pivoted. Like, does anyone talk about like, oh my God, could you believe they weren't going to do Daniel Bryan all those years ago? Like, they did it, and we remember how amazing it was. So let's just go with that.
Yeah. That's exactly right, but I think it's going to fall on deaf ears when you're talking to anybody on social media who just is out to point out whatever their viewpoint is. It's the right one, right? And if I scream louder, it makes me more right. So I mean, again, but you're right. Ultimately, reality is who cares, because both sides make WWE look good, no matter what the outcome is, no matter what side you fall on. We're still getting a very fun program. It hasn't fully played out yet. There's going to be some kind of questionable things along the line. I'm sure you and I will criticize, like, what? That doesn't make sense. That's stupid. But let's evaluate truly after WrestleMania and go, okay, that was great. I'm ready for the next chapter. So, all right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Fun Raw review here, kind of making up for last night. And we'll be looking forward to next week's Monday night when we talk current state of WWE. And don't forget, guys, to check out the After Dark show that is published every single Friday/Saturday, and looking forward to it. And Anthony, thanks so much for joining me tonight.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for accommodating my schedule. We'll talk next week.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.